Hello, Hokies, and welcome to the KeyBank Center in Buffalo, New York, where the Hokies will open play in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2007. This is your opening game, second round game day preview. I'm John Laser. He's Tech Hall of Famer Mike Burnham. Mikey, obviously moments of euphoria back in Blacksburg for this team, learning that they had earned a berth into this tournament for the first time in a decade. But they battled a nor'easter to get here to Buffalo. They've had plenty of time in the hotel to really do nothing but break down the Wisconsin Badgers. That euphoria has subsided, and it seems like surrounding this team, it's go time in terms of trying to figure out how to beat a very good Wisconsin team.
Yeah, they're really good, Lays. I mean, they remind you a lot about like Virginia because of the pace that they play with. Virginia probably a little bit slower, but they're a really good team. I mean, you look at their record, it speaks for themselves. The Final Fours, the Sweet 16s that they've been to, 11 tournament wins in the last 3 years, and the Hokies are coming and playing in the tournament the first time since 2007. So give the experience nod to Wisconsin clearly, and they got 4 senior starters on the team. So they're really, really talented, really good. But I'll say this, the Hokies have a great perspective of this thing. They know what's at stake for them. They don't want the season to end, especially for Zach Leday and Seth Allen, the seniors. They haven't played since last Thursday, so their legs are fresh. Justin Robinson's healthy after hurting his ankle way back in the Wake Forest game. So I think they got great energy. They've been really dialed in at practice, very focused, and I think they're excited to be here, and I think they're going to play a whale of a game.
Buzz Williams has said many things since we've gotten here to Buffalo. One of them, though, is I can't allow the team to have this moment seem too big. To Mikey's point, just get back after it, play a game. Mike, he's also said that this Wisconsin team is basically Virginia wearing red. They don't run the exact same pack line defense, but his point is a poignant one in the fact that this team wants to slow you down and the pace of the game down even more than Virginia does. Tech can't let that happen.
No, they can't. I mean, the Hokies want to push their pace and play at their pace. Wisconsin obviously wants you to play at their pace. So that's going to be a real mix and match to see what happens in that regard. Obviously, I think Wisconsin gets the ball inside more than UVA does, but their defenses are very, very similar. So Hokies have got to be at their best. I mean, Buzz was he did an interesting thing yesterday. He gave the guys a stat sheet, and he said, look at this stat sheet and tell me what we have done, good and bad, against these teams that are in the NCAA tournament. And the first thing that they came out was the offensive rebounding, the rebounding margin. The Hokies obviously are getting killed on the glass multiple times, and that's a real problem. So that'll be a real key for the game. Obviously taking care of the basketball, pushing the pace, and we'll see what happens. I mean, it's a great challenge for Virginia Tech, but a great opportunity as well.
It's also interesting when you look at this matchup, and you're right, that was an interesting exercise that Coach had the guys go through, and they were very quick to point out their own deficiencies in the 13 games that they've played against NCAA tournament caliber competition. One thing sticks out, though, and those numbers that you're talking about, the Hokies' strength, three-point shooting was actually somewhat of a small negative, and the fact that the opposition was shooting better from outside. For Tech to win this game, they've got to hit some shots, they've got to chase Wisconsin off the three-point line also.
Yeah, no doubt. And the big thing is hit shots. I mean, we've seen that when they're on their game and they're making baskets, man, it's a different team. And so that's going to be a real key. Ty Outlaw's been a big part of that. Obviously, Bibbs has got to play well. You got to get good minutes out of Med. And the one thing, though, Lays, that you got to do is you got to stay out of foul trouble. I mean, this is a limited roster. We've seen when Ty got in foul trouble how things slow down. We saw what happened when Zach Leday got in foul trouble against Florida State. Was out of that game for like 10 minutes. Florida State made their run. The Hokies didn't recover. So it's going to be very, very important to play physical, but don't foul, stay out of foul trouble. Obviously protect the basketball, shoot the ball very, very well, and get a shot every possession, because if you're shooting almost 50%, you know, it makes a difference if you get a shot every possession or if you're turning it over 20% of the time like they did against Florida State.
Couple of other outline keys to keep an eye on, Hokies. The fact that, to Mike's point right there about what Tech needs to do, staying out of foul trouble, that's something Wisconsin does very well. They guard you with their chest. They want to take the charge rather than block the shot like Florida State does. That could be impactful. Of course, Wisconsin is a team that has made 2 trips to the Final Four in the last handful of years. They've got the experience edge on Tech, but sometimes you turn to the guy in the fight that doesn't exactly know what's at stake. That just might be Tech in this second round matchup with Wisconsin. As you can see behind Mike and I, Hokies are jubilant to be here in Buffalo and get it going in the NCAA tournament. This has been the GDP, courtesy of Hokiesports.com.